Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Code for Tech Solutions. In today's video, we are going to cover very interesting topic. So we are going to cover Angular signals, which are nowadays trending, and it's a new feature which has introduced in Angular from Angular 17 onward. So we are going to see in depth about what is the Angular signals and its importance, and we are also going to see some real-time examples so that you will understand it more. So let's say traditionally we used to do let's say if you want to detect something has changed in a single room of our house. So if you want to detect the change in a single room, so what we can do? So like in a traditional way, we used to do we used to check for each and every single room, and we can probably switch on the lights and check the change in a particular room. And for that, like we need to do all these things, right? So with the introduction of Angular signals, like it's a kind of room itself giving some motion signals so that it will notify uh, to all the consumers, or we can say to all the people who are looking for the change in a particular room. So it's a kind of motion or signals it is giving to all the interested people who are looking for the who are searching for the change detect. So this is about Angular signal. Now before we go ahead, we must know what is the Angular signals. So basically Angular signals to track the changes or value or state change throughout the entire application so that we can ease or optimize our rendering updates. So let's say if any value or state changes, so if we want to render that change on our HTML or template, so for that it should optimize the way we are doing. So instead of traditional way, we are doing with the Angular signals. Now, what are the signals? Actually, signals are a wrapper around a value. So whenever we change that value, so that value change will notify the interested consumers so that they will do the necessary action on that value change. So what are the signal types and values? So signals can be of type like it's any primitive value to complex data structures. It can be, and it can be writable or read only as well, and we can create computable signals from other signals as well. So what does it mean? Suppose we have created one original signal, from that we can derive one new signal, and once we change the original signal's value, so on that state change the computable signal will get changed automatically, or this derived signal will get changed automatically. So this is the meaning of the computable signals, and we are going to see the example of all these in our next in our coding part. Fine. So this is about a small introduction of Angular signals. Now without any further ado, so let us jump into the coding part. Now I have created our Angular application using ngnew command, and this is our application name, inside which we have our Angular versions like 18.2.0 related. Let me show you what all versions we are going to use. Angular CLI version, it's 18.2.5, and Node version 20.11.1, and let me show you NPM version as well. NPM version 10.5.0. These are all latest version we have used to create this application. Now let us start with our, first of all we can go to our TS part, and here we can write some signal like this is the signal. Sorry, there is a spelling mistakes. This should be signal, and here we can initialize it with some value. Now we need to add import for this signal. Let's say if we have not added this much, usually initially this should be like this one. If we need to add the fix import for signals, and it has added, fine. Now if we want to print this value, how we can do? Like we can go to our HTML or any template, whatever, like we can select all, can remove, and here inside paragraph or any other control, you can use this count, and in usual way we used to print like the variable like this one, but this will not work because this is a signal. We need to call the function. Fine. Now we need to save it here as well, and you can see we have initialized the count with 0 and it is printing the 0, which is as expected. So this is the, we can go from smaller small steps till the advanced steps so that you can understand better in a better way. Now how we can set the count value or change the value or update the value. So let me create one constructor, and here let's say if you want to set the value, we can call this dot count. We can use set function, and here we can add new value. Let's say it's a 4. Fine. And here we can comment like it's a set or update, whatever we can save it. Now we can see the value has changed to 4. So with this, like we can update the value of our signal. Now here we have another way to update the count as well. We can call the update method on this, and here we can say value is equal to value plus 1. With this again we can update the value. Now if we save, we can see it is has updated by plus 1. It has a 4th value at here, and we have added plus 1, so it is showing the plus 5. Now this is like the writable signal. Now what if we have signal and which is not writable like this one, and here we can say it's a number, and here we need to import for this one. Fine. So we can see once we make it non-writable as a signal, then it should show the compile time error whenever we try to change this value, because it is the signal only which is not writable. So we need to make it writable. It should be a writable signal. Now it is not showing any error. That's it. Seems good. Now we have seen the writable signal. Now next thing, like let's say we can create one computable signal like a double count, and here we can use, let's say we can use computed, and here we can use this count, this dot count cross 2. It's a double count we can use. Now this is a computed signal we are using. Now if you want to print it on our screen, like let's say here, we can copy this and we can print it. Now let us check. Now we can see it is showing the double count, like whatever value we have it original count, it will double it because we have written the computed signal like this one. Okay, fine. Now what if like we can add one button, and on click of that, let's say here we can add one button, and on click of submit button it should call some function, and we can set the original count or change the original count. Let's say change count. We can call this function. Let's say here we need to define this function. This is the change count, and here we can change the value of this original count, like let's say we can set some value, new value, and here we can set some 10. You can save it. Now we can see we have 5 and here 10. Now this is the derived signal which is depend on this count signal, original signal. Now here on click of submit button, we are changing the original signal value. So once we change the original signal value, the derived count will get changed automatically. So let us check that. Now we are making the value of original signal as a 10. So once we 10 it, this double count will double the value automatically. See. So it is making the double. That means this computed signal is working fine. So this is about computed signal. Now let us see some real-time examples. Like let's say we have some first name, so we can copy this first, and instead of count can use first name, and here we can use string, and here signal we can use some, let's say and here can say Singh is the last name. Now here we can define one computable constant, like let's say full name, and here full name is equal to computed, and here we can write like this is a computed, and we can say this dot first name, and this should be written the first name plus we can add some space, and here we can add this dot last name. Now this is the full name. We can compute this is the derived signal from the first name and last name. So this is the full name. Now we need to add this full name on our HTML as well. So what we can do here, we can define some first of all label we can add, and this is for first name. Let's say here we can add one first name label, so we can add some controls so that you will get an idea. In here we can add some placeholder, like let's say enter first name, we can add some margin left, let's say 10 pixel. So this is about, and save it, this is about, so here we can add one line break. Now this is about first name. Similar way we can add for last name, and this is, we can say enter last name. That's it. You can save it, and we can add some margin left for label as well. Seems good. Next we can add for full name. Similar way, here is a full name, and now here we do not need to add the placeholder because full name we are going to calculate. Now here let's say for value, now for input here so this is the value we can use, like here we can, it should not be inside quote, here we can use the first name like this one, and this should be the kind of function we are going to use. Similar way we can copy it, and we can add the value for the last name input, and we can make the changes like this should be the last name. We are going to capture the values for this one, and here this is the full name that will get calculated. For this value we can simply add, it should be like full name we are going to show or render on the page. Now this full name will get calculated or will get computed automatically once we change the first name or last name. Fine. Now here we can see this is like Robin Singh and full name it is becoming as expected. Now let us do one thing here. We can add one like set timeout, and here let's say we can change the value of the first name, like we can call it here like this dot first name dot set first name. We can change like Yuvraj, and let us check. After 4 seconds the value should get changed to Yuvraj. Yes, you can see the first name get changed after 4 seconds and the value is Yuvraj, and similar way it is getting changed. You can check it again, like this is the Robin initial value. Now after 4 seconds it is getting changed, and similar way it is getting reflected in the Yuvraj Singh. Why? This is because we are not calculating explicitly the full name. We have not given any on click or kind it here, rather it's a derived signal from first name and last name, hence it will get computed by this statement. Okay, so this is about first name and last name. Similar way, if you want to cross check one more example, let's say we have, let us copy this part and we can check one more example. Like let's say we have price, which is like a kind of number, and here we can define some initial value as a 0. We can add some quantity and it is again number, and we can define some initial value as a 0, and here we can uh, define one total which is a computed from this price, and this is the kind of quantity, and it should multiply these two, like price and quantity, it should multiply to get the total, and we can save it. Now this is the total which is the derived value. Now similar way we can render on the table, like let's say we can add here, we can say it's an, let's say it's a price. We can make the similar changes, like this is the price, this is price, and we can say enterprise. Next, like it's a quantity, next here we can add same like quantity, we can say enter quantity, and finally we are going to render the total, and here we can say it's a total, and here is a total as a computed signal, and we can save it. Now you can save all this. Now let us see, this is the price and this is the quantity and this is the total. So what happens, like once we enter any price value, let's say 10, and here 20, accordingly the total will get reflected. Now it is not reflecting because we need to add some value, like whenever, let's say here what we can do, let's say here we can add input, like on click of, let's say it's input, whenever we enter some value, at that time we can call some set price method, and here we can pass, let's say here we can define one filter, like it's a filter 1, this is for price, and we are passing the value which we have entered for the price. Now here we can call the set price, and here it's an input which is of type string. We can set the value of the price. Let's say whatever input we have, that value we can set. Now here we need to convert it to the number. It's a string. Fine, we can save it. Similar way, we can write one function for the set quantity. Let's say it's a quantity, and here again we are passing, and this is the quantity we want to set the value. Now this function we need to call on once we enter the value for the, this is our input. Here we need to call on input, we are going to set call this function set quantity, and here we can define one more filter like this one, which is for, this is the second filter which we are going to use for setting the quantity, and we can call its value. That's it, and we can save it. So here we are entering some value for the price, and some quantity we are going to enter. Accordingly it should calculate this computed signal. So we have not mentioned any event on this total. You can see this is the input. We are just printing the value because that calculation part is going to happen on this computed. Okay, so let us check how it works now. Here let's say we can add 20 and quantity 20, price is 10. Yes, we can see total will get calculated automatically on basis of how, what price we are going to set. Seems good. Like here we can say 9, and here we can say 50. 50 seems good. So this value is getting, total is getting calculated based on what computed logic or computed signal you have written for the total. So this is like the computed signals, derived signals we are capturing or we are calculating on basis of these dependent signals. So basically the purpose of this one, we can reduce or overcome the overhead of computation. Let's say we have the array and in which we want to filter and detect the change for a particular element. At that time, in a traditional way, we have a kind of computation overhead. So we can reduce that computation overhead with the use of these signals, which has introduced in our Angular 18-17 versions. So you can make use of these signals and implement the kind of logic as per your requirement. So this is about this is all about the signal we have done, and I have shown you the particular real-time examples how we can make use of the signals. So thank you so much for watching this. Thank you so much once again.